Hello, welcome, and let's get started. Let's get ready to sew. You should have your 3 pieces ready. Let's start with the cap top. Fold up the bottom edge 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters from the bottom. Press with an iron. Fold in and press again. Stitch along that bottom edge. Trim both ends so they are flush with the side of the cap. We will set this aside and attach later. I'm going to show you 2 different caps, one just for contrast of color. Place the cap front on the strip. You will have the right side of the fabric, the good side, facing up on both pieces. Line up your center marks and then pin in place. We will then start our stitch about 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters from the end. You do not have to backstitch here. This will be a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. End your stitch the same on the other side. We will now flip the long strip so the wrong side of the fabric is now facing up. Press the seam down with an iron and use an iron for all your pressed edges. Continue pressing across all the way down to the end, pressing down your ends as well. We will then continue to press the bottom of the tie up. Once you have finished this, we can then press the tie together. So bringing the bottom edge up to the top, press this together. Make sure that it is pressed nice and even and that your edges are together. We will then clip the bulk out of the corners. So just opening up that press seam, clip your corners. This will make it easier to stitch. We are going to attach the top of the cap next, and we will stitch the ties at the very end. So let's place the cap on top of our fabric. So place the cap right sides together, lining up the center. Starting in the center top, we will place our first pin. Continue pinning, making sure your edges are matched perfectly, all the way to the corner. What I like to do is do the end part here, and I put my pin just to make sure it's lining up exact, and then going back and pinning through the rest. Then work down the other side, doing the same thing, going to the corner and then completing the rest. We will then stitch this all the way around with the top side of the cap facing upwards. Take your time when doing this and adjust the fabric underneath, making sure that you don't get any creases. We will then finish the edge of this so there is no fraying. So let's place the cap top downwards and let's do a zigzag stitch just to prevent the seam from fraying. If you have a serger, it would look like this. We can now finish with the tie. So what we're going to do is take our edges and put it in the tie. This makes the cap very secure with no loose edges. So let's pin first into place. So putting our edge of our cap into our tie. Make sure when you turn around, have a look to make sure that it's in there with the cap side flat, the top of the cap. So that cap here will be flat down. We can do the same for the other side. So just pinning everything secure in place and doing the other side. Same thing, pinning it in place, and make sure when you turn it over that the corner is secure. We will start our stitch on the left side. So if the cap is on your head, it would be the left tie, this one here. Remove the extension table for free arm sewing if you're able to do so. So starting with that left tie, we will start on the end, starting on the end here, stitching downwards, and then turning and going all the way across. Stitch quite close to the edge, making sure that the bottom or the back side is always getting the stitch as well. Make sure you back space at the very beginning to secure your end. So once you've reached the corner here, you can just do a 90-degree turn and then stitch along the tie. Always make sure you have the bottom of the tie getting into the stitch. When you have reached that back corner, be sure as well that the bottom tie is being stitched on the other side. Take your time going through this part here, removing your pin and continuing on. Again, when you've reached the other corner, make sure that the back side of the tie is being stitched as well. The top of the cap is laying flat. And once you have stitched over it, make sure you check the other side. So just check the other side to make sure the stitch is in there. Finish the end of the tie the same as you started the first side. The back of the cap should now be secure. To finish the cap, we're just going to stitch a top seam. This is going to hold the inside seam down and make the cap look much nicer and more professional. So just stitch along this edge, holding the seam down on the inside, and go all the way around to the other end and secure by going reverse or locking your stitch. Because these caps will get washed many times, it's great to just secure these stitches down and it will last a lot longer. You have just created a very nice professional looking scrub cap. I have sewed and donated almost 100 of these caps. Enjoy all the colorful designs and let's get creative. Have a great day. Stay safe out there, everybody. Bye.